Well, we did it. We got the $5,000.
Yeah.
Adam now has to leave the podcast.
I will be leaving.
He will be leaving. Unfortunately, Stav ate too much Auntie Anne's on the way home.
He hit a little double with the audience and Cinnabon.
He drove back from Maryland today, and somehow didn't get back until like 7 p.m.
What's the 5,000 for?
Just money I want.
Subscribers.
Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, we're famous. I don't know.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing all right. So Kurt's here. Kurt came.
You want this?
Everyone who listens to this is, it's the same. It's the same people listen to all podcasts.
Yeah, I didn't realize there was this. Every time somebody says something to me, also listens to every podcast.
Yeah.
And I listen to no podcast.
Yeah, I don't listen to any podcasts.
Me neither.
They all sit on Reddit. They listen to podcasts. So we got Kurt here instead of Stav. Kurt's been a highly requested guest on the podcast.
Yeah, we're very thankful.
Yeah, thanks for coming through.
You got $5,000 worth of subscribers.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's more people stealing, which is even more punk rock.
Are they still stealing?
Oh, they're still stealing. You changed it to RSS.
Yeah, but they're sharing the
What's
RSS.
RSS?
I don't even know.
Is it? How'd your subscription work?
It's Putin, dude.
We do the same shit. It's Patreon.
It's
Putin. Patreon?
Yeah.
So is it subscription just to listen to it at all?
No.
Oh, so you have free and then you have
one free,
premium.
one paid. The same format. Isn't that what you guys are doing now?
Well, what do you mean one free and one paid?
You do 2 a week.
Yeah. So if you pay $5 a month, you get an extra episode.
You get an extra
week.
episode.
I think we were doing like a monthly bonus. I don't really know how to do it, but maybe that's the way to do it. I don't know what you should be doing.
Well, we stole the model from my roommate. My roommate told guess how much my roommate's podcast makes now?
What?
Just guess.
Well, I don't know.
Just guess.
I'm not. Just tell me.
No, just guess.
$1 billion.
Yes.
Okay. Well, $250,000 a year.
Yeah.
Jesus.
From a
Isn't that insane?
podcast.
From a
yeah.
podcast.
What is his podcast called?
Chapo Trap House.
What could be that interesting that it makes $250,000 a year?
It's like they talk shit about.
They're it's like a politics podcast.
Journalists
They just got
and
wrote up
stuff.
in the New Yorker.
Yeah.
Throughout the election.
I guess it's a leftist perspective. They're funny. They're not comics, but they're all three independently funny dudes.
Yeah.
I think that just bunch of journo guys are like afraid of getting bullied by guys with beards on a podcast. They all subscribe to Joppa. Yeah.
It's it's very similar to Red Eye. It's basically the same. The premier political comedy outlet is Fox's Red Eye.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing.
With Tom Shalhoub and some girl that won a beauty pageant 7 years ago, and she's somehow fell from instead of going from actress to woman that just gets fucked by a bunch of people.
Yeah,
I used to play the liberal panel on Gutfeld.
Oh yeah,
it was like a wall that would say the liberal view.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing Gutfield or Kennedy. I asked him about it, and she was like, "Maybe I'll recommend you for it." But she was like, "I would suggest that you actually watch the show beforehand." And I guess she could tell that I've never seen.
What, to pick your spot or something? I don't know.
No, she's like, "I don't think you know what those shows are." And I was like, "You're right. I don't."
I don't think they know what the shows are. Whenever I watch, like, what is
Considering how fast and loose they play at a Red Eye, I figured might as well.
Well, all Fox shows don't have. They don't want to pay union writers to do the show. So that's how you get that.
Well, I don't even know who writes for Red Eye. I know it's Kissel and Tim Diamond. But it was funny. Like, Tim came up to me the first time I did Red Eye, and he was like, "Hey man, I'm one of the writers on the show." And I was like, "Write it for what?"
Yeah, what do you write?
What do you write? I don't understand. I guess Andy's rebuttals.
Yeah, Andy's rebuttals.
I thought he just came up with that shit, and he had fake papers because it sounded newsy. They have like fake papers to shuffle.
The show's too long. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Is it a nightly or a weekly?
It's
nightly.
They
nightly.
film 2 a day now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so much work.
It's a Tyler Perry model they're doing.
Right. Well, considering how often they have like me and Tim Dillon and Scott Chaplin on, it's like they really don't. I feel bad for the news people that come on because they'll have like, people that have legitimate careers in journalism and then like a comic that has 0 TV credits.
Yeah.
Literally, I just tweeted at the show and I was like,
Yeah.
put me on the show. And that's how it happened.
That's
for
how
me.
you did it?
Yeah. And then Rich Lowry's wearing like a fucking suit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he just gets bullied.
Well, yeah, you said you were on with the ambassador John Bolton once.
A while ago.
That's pretty. I mean, you've got credits at least.
That's
they got
my main
you.
credit I use everywhere.
Yeah.
Ambassador Ambassador Bolton. Yes,
Yeah.
I know him.
Red Eye is such a shit credit too. It's not like something you can even use for shows. It's like in DC when comics will be like, "Oh yeah, say I was on Comcast."
Yeah,
When they do
yeah.
that,
What was that?
they did. They're like this local Comcast like
Who
open
gives a
mic show.
shit?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
guess it matters. It fucking
I hate telling hosts what to say. Like,
Yeah.
what do you want me to say? And like, just fucking.
Save my name.
Yeah.
I remember when I had to bring up Louis, and I'm like, "What do you want me to say?" He's like, "Nothing. Just say Louis C.K." and
Yeah.
drop the mic and walk away from it slowly. Like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, "All right," and because as a host, you don't want to. Like, I
Right.
just gotta say something, man. But
Right.
I totally get why he didn't want me to say anything.
Well, the conceit of credits is that the audience doesn't have any faith that the show is going to be a good show until
Yeah.
they hear what you've been on or like how you've been vetted. But like,
and they don't care what the fucking credits
right,
are.
nobody cares.
No
There's
one's-
nobody
yeah,
in the
no one's
audience
listening.
that's going to be like, oh,
Don't does this make me
Wow.
uncomfortable before I get on?
yeah, he's been on a sitcom on CISO that I've never heard of.
I got, oh God! On Friday night I was at a show and the host asked and I said no, I have nothing. And then the dude who booked it was like, no, say Come Town. And I was like, all right, fine. And then he fucking butchered my name. He said he called it Come Mom Podcast, and he's like Aaron Friedman.
Come on, podcast. He called
Come
it.
Mom. Come Mom Podcast.
Come Mom.
He's like, everyone, please put your hands together for Aaron Friedman from the
Yeah.
Come On Mom Podcast.
I've only butchered one intro in my
Yeah.
entire life. It like having to bring people up, and it was Cameron Esposito, and it was before I knew who she was. And in retrospect, I'm like, good.
Yeah,
I
you
feel like
did it.
there's a part of my
What did you?
subconscious.
How did you?
I said like Carmen Esperanto or something. And I've just fucking
Carmen Esperanto.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
even a
yeah.
hard name to get right.
Yeah. Give it up for Carmen Sandiego, everybody.
fucking Carmen Sandiego.
Where in the world are Carmen
Oh.
Sandiego's punchlines?
You know her from Upworthy. What
Yeah.
a horrific credit.
Yeah, was that her credit? Upworthy. I mean,
That's
she's
her
on
credit to
everything.
me.
Yeah, she's got a lot of money now.
Hey guys,
Wow.
think periods aren't a thing to bring up at like
Yeah,
that. I love that fake. That fake thing of all men or have demanded that you can never talk about your period.
yeah,
Like now, here's one that goes on uncomfortably long
Yeah.
about nothing.
yeah.
That's the worst
Yeah.
joke I've ever heard.
That's the only benefit to the Trump presidency is if the executions start, I'm going to enjoy like the first 45 executions.
What do you think his?
Trevor Noah's getting shot.
Yeah.
He's gonna kill Trevor Noah. He's gonna seat him behind a desk on the National Mall.
Well, Trevor, they put. I think that was coming. So I'm just like, he's brown and has an accent. Everyone's gonna love this.
Well, he's a great host. He's
He's
you
not.
know,
It's just not from America,
Right.
man. I'm
Well,
telling you, it bothers people to
he
have a
would've been-
non-American.
No, I just think
Trevor
that-
Noah would have killed it if it was a show on MTV and it wasn't the fucking Daily Show.
Yeah.
He's just not the right voice for that show.
So who do you think it is? Samantha Bee was the right
John
vote?
Stewart, and there's no way Comedy Central's gonna
Did
be
you
like,
watch Samantha
okay.
Bee?
I've seen.
Is this
clips of
amazing
it.
as I've heard?
I don't
No.
know. It was post-election. A lot of the stuff I've seen has been kind of just horse shit.
What? What do you mean horseshit? Like
The like, don't riot. It's important not to fucking riot or whatever.
She said that?
Yeah, she said that.
All I know is that people
Daily Show did a don't riot bit. She was like, you're ruining the credibility for the rest of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's what it's not that. Here's what it does. It's basically all Trump has to do is not explode the country, and he will go down as great. That's all he's got to do.
He's already great. He can do whatever he wants, and he'll
But
be
just
great.
if there's just the fucking hysteria
Yeah.
before anything's happened. If it's not even a tenth as bad as that,
Yeah.
it's gonna be
Well,
because Obama's officially a great president now. Historically, Obama's going to go down as one of the good
To
ones.
some people.
He will,
But it was cemented that way
it'll be like
anyways.
Clinton went down as like good because of George W.
Yeah.
And Clinton, the reason Hillary wins because a lot of people didn't want that shit show back in fucking office of the Clintons.
Yeah.
All that shit they're supposedly
Well, they're gonna-
protesting. The Clintons.
I don't
made.
know if you saw, but Jill Stein got to $7 billion, so they're going to do the recount.
The
and
popular
7
vote thing.
million.
$17
Dude, the popular
billion.
vote thing is so fucking. What a punk ass. First of all, if Hillary won the Electoral College and not the popular, it wouldn't come up. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, shut the fuck up. The popular vote in New York and L.A. You 800,000 more people. So what? That's
Yeah.
why they have an Electoral College.
Yeah.
So that the Hollywood types can't control the whole election.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they can't do it Electoral College where it's not everything's like winner take all. That's why it sucks.
Uh-huh.
Because if they did it where the electoral votes per state, if based on you get some and they get some, you'd see a little more movement and less of this like. That's what I think.
Like go county by county rather than state by state?
Just electoral college. Let's say there's 3 electoral votes in a state.
Sure.
You get all of them based on if you win. If they distribute it based off the votes in that state, where it's like somebody gets 2 and somebody gets 1, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That seems like it would be a more fair electoral college.
So you would do
right?
it by county.
I guess I don't know anything more about it after.
I don't know. I disagree. But why shouldn't majority rule in democracy? Like, isn't it a simple question? Like, why shouldn't...
You mean over the thing of it being 800,000 people?
I'm just saying, like, why shouldn't the person with the most...
That was the whole reason they were afraid of being a country, was certain states didn't want to be...
well, it was like... Yeah, but it was to protect...
That was also... America prior to the Civil War, like, it's 2 completely different countries.
Yes.
You really can't compare the 2 governments.
Well, that's why we don't have a full-on popular vote, because that way the two-state solution
in
works.
The Constitution is like the idea of how the electoral college is set up. But if through a current lens, it really doesn't make sense to use an electoral college. It should just be the popular vote.
No fucking way, dude.
Yeah,
there's no way I would want.
Are you a states' rights guy? Do you think?
No, but I don't want it. I don't want everybody else to be irrelevant except the most popular cities.
But it's not everybody else. I mean, what if the population of Montana was 5? There were 5 people that live there.
I think as a state, each state should get to have a fucking say for sure, because they all have their own individual needs and wants and shit. I mean, there's no way you can fucking put it all on the other.
Yeah, but that's what
understand.
That's what Congress is for.
Yeah, but
also, what do states matter really? At the end, I don't
have a problem. Listen, I have no problem with how they set it up in the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, just the bottom line is Hillary's whole appeal was she's not perfect, but she's like qualified because she knows the game and all that bullshit. Mm-hmm. And the game's electoral college, and she sucks so bad that she couldn't beat Trump.
Yeah, well, they were playing some like dumb. Like one of the reasons they didn't campaign in Wisconsin was because they knew they weren't doing well there, and they were bluffing.
That, yeah.
They were fucking bluffing, and they didn't want.
Is that
Trump
true?
That's what I heard. Yeah. But this is what I want to talk to you about.
Bernie would have won number 1. Everybody has said. Do people get a huffy breath when you say A, Bernie would have won?
Yeah.
And B, a lot of this was social justice shit. They get huff. Come on. So. First of all, Bernie would have absolutely won.
Yeah, it's important to say Bernie would have won every single day. I'm banned from Facebook right now.
For what? Bernie would have won?
Well, there was an article about about how saying Bernie would have won is victim blaming, and we don't need to hear from white men right now.
Who's a victim?
Hillary
DNC.
Clinton. She was raped by losing the election, so it's victim blaming to say Bernie would have won. But so I posted some article, and then you know how like the whole kill all men thing that female comics do on Facebook. So I did like the clapping emoji. I was like kill all white women, and I shared that article, and they banned me for a month from Facebook.
Well, I mean that's how privilege works, my friends.
Yeah.
Next time, check it before you.
Well, I'm trans now on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, that bullshit is why
I'm posting. I'm going to Periscope from a Target bathroom wearing a fucking dress.
If you don't see that it's such a clear fuck you to that shit, Trump getting. I mean, I couldn't see a clearer message than a guy who never chooses his words properly getting elected.
I think I don't buy it.
Why?
He didn't even get as many votes as Mitt Romney. He didn't come in on like a popular wave. He came in on people just being disillusioned.
No, but it's
what does that have to do with anything?
A lot of it
is... of course, people being disillusioned. Right, that's what I'm saying.
No, it was just like she couldn't get the vote out. It wasn't that he like inspired this massive cultural
people wanted
movement.
him over Cruz because, and this is why when I thought he was less bad than Cruz. Okay. In the beginning, I was like, well, I like that he doesn't have any political acumen. Like, I like that he fucking just talks and doesn't. Because the way they've twisted shit now is regular people have to be politicians, and the actual president didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck we got that.
Well, comics like him because he's got like that dice blood in him. It's like it's kind of like you're.
I thought he was
less
bad than Cruz because of that.
Yeah.
And then partway through, when I started reading all this alt-right shit, I was like, oh, okay, this is why that's really bad because
they're Nazis.
These people that are empowered.
I like the alt-right stuff because it makes me POC now, and it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
I've had to be white my whole life, and now I'm POC again.
Yeah.
I felt POC.
That identity politics bullshit to fucking. Of course, that's gonna happen if your dumbass decides that racism. This is because they try to put Marxism into everywhere but where it should be, which is like healthcare. They try to make it into every other thing. They were like, well, we'll never get health care, so let's just try to calm me up every other interaction. So that new racism bullshit of where everyone, it's your identity, and we want, no, don't look at me as me. Think of who my color.
Well, I don't. It's not Marxist. It's not Marxist.
That's what critical race theory explicitly is.
No, I don't.
In their own words of Derek Bell and the people in it, it's a Marxist framework, which is why it's so collective. So that's why you can't. I mean, I had people arguing with me of like telling me I was appropriating something. I can't remember who was accused. Some feminist that messaged me when that whole shit happened to me, and I was like, yeah, well, you know, I don't know all your terms and shit. I mean,
yeah.
I mean well with whatever I'm saying. She's like, typical white male. Yeah. Intentions matter more than word. And I'm like, I don't do that shit. I'm not. And everything was, typical white male. Like, no, I'm not typical, bitch. Because I'll tell you why. You and your friends felt you had to destroy me.
Yeah.
Everybody's on Facebook doing it. So clearly, I'm a snowflake. Why do you think that I'm going to be part of this shit where I get lumped in a group because you want to do your little group?
Yeah.
And they chose that.
The funniest thing I saw during the election, there was like a comic somebody shared, and it's a picture of like, you know, like it's shittily drawn, which makes it even better. It's like an MS Paint comic, and it's a guy, and he's got like a sort of like an ISIS beard almost, and like a shirt that says, "This is what a feminist looks like." You know, piercings. Yeah. His arms are crossed, and he's like, "It's not my job to educate you. It's like you're asking questions, which is what white men do. Therefore, they're bad." You know, yeah. It's like I'm not enacting the emotional labor. And then on the other side of the comic, there's a guy with like a shittily drawn swastika that's like fucked up, and he's like saluting Hitler, and he's like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'd love to talk to you about white nationalism. Answer any questions you want. Let me show you all this data on haplogroups." You know,
well, because their strategy.
Yeah.
See, the whole thing, they're so stupid.
They like to proselytize for sure.
Right. I used to compare them to a religion, the fucking social justice people, but the difference is religion likes to tell you their beliefs.
Oh no, I feel like the alt-right people are like a religion.
They like to tell you their beliefs.
They're like
more
the
like
Mormons.
The lefties are worse because they're fucking. It's like a religion, but you're supposed to have already known their teachings and been a member, or else go kill yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not on them. First of all, they're like, these are the new rules. Here's all these made up bullshit things I made, and you're supposed to have already known them. Like you're imposing on me to ask.
Yeah.
And they maybe should have waited till 2040 when they were all spiking the football about that, you know, when it's going to be not
That's
white.
the year Hari becomes funny.
The year, the year. That's what the fuck that album means.
Yeah. The year my jokes hit.
But that it's like all the judgment and bullshit of a church, but none of the forgiveness or love of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like these chicks should find Jesus, because that's really these are people that hate themselves, that want to inflict on everybody. That's always what it is with that.
Yeah.
And especially the racist shit. This was a plot. This was a plan, because I really read critical race theory, like all their college papers and shit. I try, because people just, racism institutional, it's not individual. I'm like, okay, what are you basing that on? Well, that's what it says in okay, but what is that? Like, what's the evidence of that I have to believe this, other than you like it better?
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to find an answer to that.
Yeah.
And then I read these papers. The only this is it in a nutshell. It's just they could consider it a useful tool for anti-racism movement. It's like basically it's like we're just going to shame white people into not being racist.
Yeah.
And it's such not understanding how that works.
Well, that probably does work on a personal level. It doesn't work as far as elections go.
No, it works
obviously.
on liberals who have that S&M thing of like, yes, I'm white, hit me.
Yeah.
It doesn't work on these people who already hate themselves and they feel less than already. And for you to talk down to them, they're racist out of self-hatred.
Yeah.
So you can't shame them. All you're doing is making them prouder of their fucking shit.
Yeah.
That's not the way to go about it. You actually do have to try to reason with people and talk to them. I love calling conservatives stupid, but I don't try to suppress them from talking.
Yeah.
And all that and that's the whole TV and all that, like, that one eyebrow raised, little condescending, shitty liberal nerd thing. Everybody got real sick of that. And that's why they wanted this guy who's going to hang
But don't
their
you
underwear.
think that it was like more about like she was like some girl that did all her homework and like asked if there was like this was going to be on the test and
she
sat
didn't
in the
do all
front
her
row.
Well, that's
And,
certainly
like,
that personality.
She's like just
I'll tell you,
annoying.
But
she's
there's
just
also the fact that she sucks for real on every level.
It's like the movie Election.
Here's
right?
why she didn't win.
You seen
The
that
Tracy
movie
Flick
Election
thing for sure.
Tracy Flick for sure. No one likes like the fucking
Right.
try hard.
Well,
like,
that's why you don't
especially
run. Right.
women.
No one's ever elected
right?
her to anything, number one, except in New York they elected her senator because if you love her, it's because you love that a certain type of person hates her. the end.
And Trump appealed to enough people effectively.
Yeah. Well, you could say the same thing. You could say the same thing about Trump. You could say the same exact thing about Trump. Is that people like him because other people hate him.
So that was already
and there, there's all this like analysis about whether it was racism was a motivating factor, and a lot of people say no, it wasn't that. Is it because there was too much emphasis on identity politics?
Some of that for sure,
or ignoring that? Yeah, sure. It's a lot of things. But when you talk to the average Trump voter, because I have family that voted for Trump, the family that ratted me out to the FBI, by the way,
they should have,
and they just go, I just like him. They just say, I just think he's great, and they don't put any more thought into it than that. That's it.
They are, but they don't want to tell you. They don't. First of all, Republicans hate politics. Hillary's thing of "I'm with her," was so stupid because that's not how these people want their fucking government to be. I'm with her. Trump, when he would give a speech, he's like, he made fun of that. He's like, no, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Trump's a blank for them to project all their bullshit onto.
Yeah.
And Hillary, and that's how lefties always want like a lead. They always want like a Castro leader. Okay. It's always, I don't know why the yin and yang is like, they want cops to be their employee. Like, shut up, cops, you're my employee. And they want government to be like their Obama, I leadership and hope. And then Republicans are the opposite. They treat cops like they're fucking you're not to even question a cop.
Yeah.
The politicians are beneath them and are an employee. That's why they'd want a guy like Trump over someone like Hillary.
Yeah.
They don't like that shit because they're deathly afraid of any kind of this is how it's going to be government.
Yeah.
Where they don't get a say. They're terrified of that, and Hillary just oozed that, and these fucking liberals seem to. I mean, I remember when I went to go see Borat in the theater a long time ago in Brooklyn.
Great movie, by the way. Shout out Borat.
This kid had a fucking. He looked like Adam had a shirt that said "Jon Stewart is God" on it.
Yeah,
which I mean,
but it said Jon Stewart is gay.
No, God.
Oh.
Which he clearly made himself.
Yeah,
and it is like, that whole fucking. That just repulses them to no end. The entire middle of the country and every other, whoever voted for Trump hates that. Plus the hypocrisy of it's not just Hillary. First of all, she was so qualified. Why was she qualified?
Well, that's what I'm not prepared for is the fucking hubris of comedy at large, where they think that like, well, Trump got elected. Now it's time. Now it's time for the comedians
That's the problem,
to fix this.
is that
it's like, shut the fuck up.
That was the problem the whole time. We thought the comedians were supposed to be president.
Man. During the worst part of the Bush years, like 2006, 2007, during the insurgency, Jon Stewart was great. That show was great. It was, I mean that. Just as a piece of comedy programming, it was a great show.
Right.
And I don't think anything's going to come close to that.
Well, the correspondents were better too then.
Yeah.
That's when you had like Carell and fucking.
But that was like John's show, and that was the peak of that show, and there's no way to get back to that.
It's a really hard job to do that every night.
Of course, it was a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah.
It was like, and that's, we have these like great things that happen in entertainment. It would be like if Mozart died and they're like, we got a black guy to replace him.
Yeah.
And he's just fucking up the piano. And
I don't know. Dude, that fucking affirmative action hire shit. That's where Hillary's so qualified. All these people are old enough to remember what the fuck Clinton did. Like Trump, I heard people saying like, Trump's a rapist. Like the way they would hysterically talk about Trump. The actual shit he said is bad enough without dressing it up. His whole thing about Mexicans are rapists. He was talking about illegals, whether he worded it right or not. That's what he was talking about was illegals. Now, the liberals reporting on it, they can't say illegal. They have to say undocumented. But that little worminess of not saying illegal, saying undocumented.
Yeah. And
I remember when they changed it officially, I watched them on there. They go, well, people don't like illegal.
Yeah.
So we're gonna say undocumented. Like, okay, so now rape is surprise sex, and what is that? Does that fix rape?
Yeah.
So they did that. So that's wormy. That's egghead shit that these people despise. Then they're making out that Trump said all Mexicans, which it's not what he was saying. But what he said was bad enough. Like illegals are not all rapists. You could have focused on it, but then people don't believe you when you start throwing in other shit about him, and then they don't trust you. Meanwhile, Clinton is a rapist. If you're going to accept the evidence of Trump is a rapist, Clinton's definitely a rapist.
Sure. Wait, who's she rape?
She helped fucking destroy the women that accused her husband.
She raped and murdered children through the Comet Ping Pong Pizza restaurant.
Not that when those women said Clinton raped them, Hillary was in on trying to suppress those women. If you believe,
where do you stand on Pizzagate? By the way,
I don't know what that is.
So okay, In one of the Podesta emails, there was an email that was like, "Hey John, I found a handkerchief with a map on the back that looks pizza related. Not sure if this is yours or not. Disregard if
What does that
so."
mean?
Nobody
It's
knows.
nothing.
They
It's
started
like
digging.
Who did?
the alt-right, the Nazis.
Well,
the Pepe Frog.
Yeah, it don't matter.
Very
all right.
respectable
Dang.
people on Reddit who do solid investigative work. And so pizza is apparently it's a code word for satanic rituals where you rape and murder children, and the entire Democratic establishment has this,
Yes.
you know, and
Right.
you know that
A
because
child sex
it's a
cult.
child sex ring.
Yeah.
And there's all this evidence, like, you know, the email I just mentioned.
Is
to
that like
you.
Alex Jones
Also,
people
I feel
saying
kinda.
that?
They're all
Oh.
the same.
Yeah, never
Okay.
mind that shit. I'm talking about the actual shit the Clintons
Hold
did.
on, I love this conspiracy
What?
theory.
Well,
this is
it
the
sounds
fun. This is
awful.
it's the funniest thing in the fucking world.
So that's a child sex ring.
Yeah, it's a child
Run
sex
out
ring.
of a pizza restaurant.
called
Really?
Comet Ping Pong.
It's like the
in
worst
DC.
Chuck E. Cheese ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, so it seems like this whole silly conspiracy theory thing, because, you know, the evidence is like, oh, well, you know, like, look at this. The description of the business on its own website says it's a fun, family-oriented place. You know, that's pretty suspicious. And it just seems like this silly thing the alt-right is cooking up. But then the guy that owns the pizza restaurant, if you look at his Instagram likes, it's all just suggestive pictures of, like, infants and stuff.
No, it's,
And no. Somebody was saying that. Like, if you look, like, he actually, like, there is, like, a little bit of, there's just enough weird shit going on that it's like, okay, there might be some truth here.
Weird. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. I never believe any of that shit. Or like Ben Franklin rode around in a horse and carriage,
Yeah.
Jack the Rippering,
Well,
whores and children.
I don't know. Nobody would think, you know, if you said Subway Jared was a pedophile 2 weeks before that story broke, people would be like, yeah, come on.
That's everybody just their pedophile radar is way off
Yeah.
because he clearly was a pedophile.
He clearly
the whole
was.
time.
But I mean, look at Podesta.
but that's every
Look
time
at fucking
someone's a
Podesta.
pedophile.
What? That you think he's as
He's-
pedophilia
He's got the same vibes, dude.
as Jared? Jared's
Yeah.
pretty strong.
Same vibes.
Does he have a high voice? It's always an adult man that's like, anyway, I talked to Jessica.
It's not. It's not high, but it is like,
You know,
muted.
it's got that like, yeah.
Yeah.
They don't like government.
velvety.
Their deepest fear is government, where the people like are qualified. Whenever you hear that they're so qualified, they hate that. That's
Yeah.
what all Republicans hate. They want a guy just like them, the guy you could drink beer with. Fucking idea, which I guess is Trump or something. But and also, what a fuck you to people. People told me that it's like a monkey wrench to them throwing it. in
Yeah.
the
Well, that's
machine.
what Bill Mitchell said. That's how Bill Mitchell called it. He said it's a change year, and Donald Trump is a change candidate.
If it was Bernie, people would have had to go for Bernie just because that's how bad Trump is. But
Yeah.
Hillary was not. If you're below 30 or something, especially a woman who like loves her, that's that's all these women that voted against Hillary just remembered Hillary.
Yeah. I just love how much it hurt Lena Dunham and how all the people that were hurt
That's
by
a
it.
sweet. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it's a thing.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just relieved it's finally over. You know,
Yeah,
America.
I just
itself.
imagine Lena Dunham nude on stage at the victory Hillary party as the states come in and they know they're losing, and Lena's trying to find more ways to get even more naked. She can't. She's already completely nude. She's
Lena
thinking-
Dunham reading her reaction to the
Yeah,
election, nude.
Oh, you read
Yeah.
the thing she wrote about her election night, about her
Oh,
crying in
yeah,
the
yeah.
shower.
She
It
got
wasn't
hives.
supposed to be this way. She
Yeah.
worked so hard.
It
for
wasn't
it.
Can you
supposed to
imagine
be
who's her
this way.
boyfriend? I hope it's just some
No,
guy
he's
that
a guy from a
delivers
band.
It's still that
pizza.
guy from the band.
I
from
think
Fun?
so. From Fun. From that.
Oh,
from the band.
I was hoping it was just some guy that was like, "This is my fucking ticket. I'm going to put up with all of this bullshit."
No,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like
I'm
a
gonna
real
cash in.
womany man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. But seriously, what are Hillary's accomplishments? I always try to ask somebody that nobody. And I looked up her page of what she got, and it
She made
looks like a
she
girl.
made millions of dollars in speaking fees.
Looks like a New York girl's padded resume.
Yeah.
Worked to help veterans get money. What does that mean? Worked to
Yeah,
help.
yeah.
And then you look it up, and it's like she just showed up for the photo at the last minute. She literally got put off of her husband's name into where she. The very definition of patriarchy.
Yeah.
She's that.
Yeah.
And they're like, ooh, a woman. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, she was a lawyer prior to,
Yeah.
you know,
If
she was
you-
a successful litigator.
People think that the
she was
qualification-
she was the breadwinner the entire time that Bill Clinton was the governor of Arkansas.
Yeah.
She was out earning him by probably 200%.
It doesn't make her any more qualified than fucking
Yeah,
I'd say she's more experienced in government.
The one criticism that's like, oh, she only has a career
I didn't vote
because
for
of her
Trump, by
husband.
the way, for the record. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not insane. Like, I would
Yeah.
take Hillary over Trump.
And yeah, Bill Clinton also like raped them out of all their money while he was in, the White House. So all the amount of legal debt they had when they got out of, when the Clinton's administration ended, they didn't have any real money. I mean,
Wait, so they were paying for that out of their own
Well,
bank
they sure
accounts?
should.
well, they
made
had
up
White
for it,
House
huh?
counsel.
They had White
but-
House counsel,
They had
I
White House
thought.
counsel, but they also have to spend their own money. So
You can't have the taxpayer paying for your blowjob lawyer.
They're like they were something like $800,000 in debt when he left office.
And then he got the book
Dude,
deal.
if you think Clinton,
Right,
yeah.
I mean, because Clinton's remembered as a good president still, he is overall. Like, whenever people bring up presidents, they stay
Yeah.
up because of the economy. I'm telling you, Obama will get the same.
Well, for most people,
because he didn't even have a blowjob.
For most people, those takes aren't really like nuanced, though. It's because
They're not. That's
they'll
right.
remember him as a good president because he was
Cool.
charismatic.
That's right.
That's it, because he played that fucking
That's
saxophone.
the fucking contest. I mean,
Yeah.
listen. Like I said, when a bald man could get elected, I'll give a shit
Yeah.
whether a woman gets elected.
But, like,
it's unbelievable what people will vote on.
I think
Yeah.
with WikiLeaks, with the FBI, with everything, if it was just some fucking haircut, some fucking square-jawed Mitt Romney type, and like just Martin O'Malley. If
Yeah.
all that shit happened to Martin O'Malley, he'd still beat Trump. For sure. I think it was
email
because
thing?
people,
You
yeah.
don't run a candidate. First
yeah,
of all,
I think he would.
And
Hillary-
it's
you
I think
lost
no,
when
she has so
was
much more
chosen.
baggage, dude. She has so
was-
much more
100%.
baggage.
Listen,
It's
the
not
second-
just the email.
The
thing.
second that she
of
won the
course.
primary, it was lost. The second she won the primary, it was done.
Yeah.
You don't run someone with a over 50% unlikability rating
Yeah, yeah,
ever.
yeah.
Barry Crimmins said it to me, and I didn't even know that was that bad. Her
Yeah.
likability
Well,
rating.
Trump did too. Trump had over 50%.
But that's Republicans.
He was
This is a
less
hate
popular than her.
vote. Right, but a hate vote where you vote out of hate, Republicans are traditionally better.
I don't know. I think that
Republicans win in hate
Republicans
votes.
vote for Republicans. He got as many votes as John
Yeah.
McCain and fucking
He got
Mitt
Obama
Romney.
voters. He got all these people.
Yeah,
people
I think
thought-
that's. I don't.
Well,
think
what are you
that's
arguing?
demographic.
Like, I don't know what we're disagreeing about. What are you saying?
I don't think that it was. I think that Hillary Clinton was just someone we've known for too long. She had her experience was a complete liability because she'd been in her entire. You didn't know shit
His
about Trump,
establishment
dude.
to everyone.
Of course, Trump was
Right.
like cutting deals with the mob in New York in the late 70s. No one
Right.
knows that.
She was
shit. He
also a
wasn't-
piece of shit during the 2008 election.
Dude, Hillary,
yes.
did you
And-
ever
and
see
you
this
know what I
shit?
didn't understand? Why
She's
they
a piece of
didn't- why
shit
they
to
didn't try
Obama.
yeah,
Yeah.
she was. She was absolutely. She started, that birth certificate thing.
She did.
That fucking was it Blumenthal,
what?
the turban bullshit. That
Yeah, there's
picture
a
of-
picture of him in like African garb. that
all
was,
this
like,
racist
Sidney
shit that
Blumenthal was,
Republicans
like,
ran with, as far as Obama's concerned, that all came out of Hillary Clinton's 2000.
Not all of
outta
it, but
here.
the birther
Like what?
thing.
That
the
birther thing, Hillary Clinton's
Hillary
campaign.
invented birtherism.
Yes.
Her
Yep,
campaign.
That was her campaign.
I didn't know that.
And you know what? All that Bernie bro bullshit. That was a fucking. That was a line they were pushing with Obama boys back in 2008.
Oh, yeah.
Go look at that. It was
Obama bots.
Oh, no, Obama boys. It was specific. It was the same because this was before bro was
Oh,
a term.
because you're supposed to
Yeah,
go
it's like
with the
chill out,
women.
Obama boys. It's time for a woman or whatever. And here's the thing. I
Maybe
don't
it is.
understand.
It ain't time for
If-
her.
If they don't have a problem going dirty, why didn't they do that with Trump? And the way you do that with Trump is you don't call him a rapist because you know he's a rapist. You leak stories about how he couldn't get his dick hard.
Yeah,
or
he's got a
something.
small dick
He's got
and
a
stuff.
small dick. That's fucking the only thing that ever hurt him was Marco Rubio's hands comment.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
That's it. Rubio handed it to you on a
He
fucking
leaked
golden
nudes
plate.
of his wife.
Yeah.
He leaked nudes of his own wife during
Yeah.
the fucking election.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my God, I'm so disappointed, but you know what? These are very tasteful. She's a model. In Europe, these are very normal, these pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, so,
Well, Trump's. You know what disturbs me about that audio of him pussy grabbing and all that shit. Like, somebody qualified would have gotten hired a PI to find that shit before Hillary's people found it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's his big selling point, is he's this fucking amazing businessman who's all
Oh,
smart.
he's
And he's a
not.
terrible businessman.
Yeah.
And he did, to me, he's the equivalent of like a YouTube person being the new greatest comic.
sort of.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Some YouTube guy like that. I like that he doesn't have any government.
Well,
I don't know if that's such a great idea.
Honestly,
for an elected official.
who's more qualified to be president than a fucking guy that pretends to be good at business but isn't?
Well, yeah,
That's
true.
essentially what the job is.
Yeah. No, it's a fucking. I mean, even honestly, with foreign. I think with world shit, I think he'll be better than Obama. Honestly,
No,
because they don't
nah.
respect Obama, dude. They never.
No,
did.
we're fucked.
No, we're fucked.
We're absolutely fucked.
With what?
In the Middle East, with Russia, with North Korea.
Russia, first of all, Russia, we were fucking fucked up how we handled them. I mean, Obama was fucked up with that, and Russia was celebrating. The shit Russia does
Russia's still going to be a fucking aggressor. There's going to be problems.
Just be their own, like, we fucked up with them. I'm telling you, the foreigners, they only respect a fucking guy they're terrified of, and they don't like an Obama.
But don't you
but
think
Hillary's a warmonger.
That's right.
She would have.
Right.
But don't you think
she would have
Trump
saber rattled to the same fucking degree that Trump
with Russian? What'd you say?
She would have saber rattled to the same degree Trump is
I don't
going
think it would have
to.
been as effective. I think that Trumping was like, whenever you hear the rest of the world is scared.
Yeah,
that's good.
But
good.
don't you think Trump is just a con man then? Like,
yeah,
Putin,
I think he's full of shit.
Putin has literally murdered people with his hands. Like, not even
Putin
with
is
weapons.
worried about Russia's own interests. Most
No,
of the
but I'm
shit
saying,
they
like,
do,
that's-
then they don't want to get fucked with
he's
for
a
it.
criminal. He's a
Right.
fucking criminal.
Donald
I mean,
Trump's
if you
just a
look
guy
at-
that got a
right.
lot of money from his dad. you know?
I think that the annexation of Crimea last year, whatever 2 years ago, whenever
Yeah.
that was, is like Russia's going to keep doing shit like that. You know,
Right,
if
they don't
Russia
want to be
unchecked,
surrounded by our missiles. and all that shit.
Ukraine has nothing to do with that.
Well, I don't know about Crimea. Who owns what? I just know I didn't see what we were getting out of antagonizing him. Like what's the threat of Russia to us? Something with Syria? Like what is the reason?
They back Assad. We can't really back Assad. We just have to.
That's
ISIS.
Obama's biggest fault. How he fucked that up with Syria. Like
that wasn't
didn't help the people.
That wasn't.
Should've
That
helped.
was the fault of the Iraq War, and then
It's
the
our
Syrian
whole life
civil
story,
war
man.
wouldn't be as bad as it. I don't even know if. I mean, I don't know enough about it, but I don't know if the
We
Syrian
could
civil
have
war
helped the
would
people.
even
We
have
should have, and we
happened.
didn't. And we did. It's like what America always does. Everything is half-assed.
Well,
too late.
who should we have helped in Syria?
In the beginning, the people that weren't they got slaughtered by fucking the jihadis. So,
But like what rebel groups?
I don't know what the name of them. I know we had the people
Because the one we were backing, that the guy, the Twitter guy went to.
Yeah,
join.
yeah, yeah.
The
we didn't do it till
YPG.
later.
Well, we didn't do it till later because they wanted. There's like a Frontline documentary about it you can watch. But
what is it? Maybe I saw.
they didn't want to. They didn't want to help
The
in
one on
Iraq.
ISIS.
They didn't want to help fight ISIS in Iraq because they wanted Maliki to resign, and he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't
Right.
fight the war, and he wanted the U.S. to come in and do it for him, and they didn't
Right.
want to do that. So eventually he stepped down, and then we didn't have any rebels to back other than the YPG, which put us in like a shitty situation with Turkey because
This is I'm confused. You're talking about in Iraq or Syria?
both.
Both.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, and Kurdistan technically
Yeah.
too.
right. Well, yeah.
So
we
yeah,
hate
well,
the Kurds.
these are Kurds. They're like communist Kurds that we backed, but they're also, I guess, somehow related to groups that are fighting.
Do you
the
know
Turkish
their
government.
religion? By the way, the Kurds. It's like this weird. Like they worship Satan, but like they think he's a good guy.
Yeah,
It's such a strange thing.
My big bit
Yeah.
2 years ago was pretending to be offended when I heard people say Kurd. Like, how dare you speak about those people like that? They're human beings.
Yeah, that I don't know why. I think Trump's seemed kind of isolationist. I mean, I guess I don't know what he stands for.
Yeah,
'cause
but
it
that
doesn't
goes
seem to
out the
be
window
anything.
as soon as you're president.
Yeah, the dude
Yeah,
that he.
it does.
Here's the problem, and
It's
why
very
I don't know what
easy-
he's gonna
it's
stick
very
to with
easy to
any of
be a
his
fucking
ideas.
isolationist when you're some libertarian that's nobody's voting for or listening to.
Right. I don't know what he's going to do when I think about it. Like,
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
putting
believe any of. I mean, anything he said, I wouldn't bet on.
He's going to be surrounded by national security guys that are telling him to
Michael
get involved.
Flynn.
Yeah, involved in all this fucking shit, and they're going to be smarter than him, and they're going to have data, and they're going to have experience, and then we're going to continue on the same fucking path we've been going down, and it'll get worse.
Now, what path do you think we would have gone down different with Hillary? Because I would have rather had Hillary.
Probably the same shit.
Yeah.
you know.
You don't think? What do you think the brighter side would be?
No, there wouldn't be a brighter side. I don't.
Yeah?
There were the Syrian no-fly zone was the thing that was like kind of scary with Hillary because she's talking about shooting down Russian planes. I'm afraid of Russia. That's like that's as in just to be selfish. Like what actually affects your life in terms of you might die.
Yeah.
Increasing tension with Russia is like a problem.
Russia couldn't even beat us Do you know how big our military is? It's crazy.
If
it's like not even.
Here's the thing that people
they have bombs that can make it winter.
Well, if it gets nuclear, yeah.
And that's the thing, man. There's this arrogance that fucking people in this generation have towards the possibility of nuclear war because we somehow survived the Civil War or the Cold War.
Right.
But that was a fluke.
Right.
The amount of times we came like a cunt hair away from absolute destruction.
Yeah, but Russia does not want a war with it. I mean, they don't.
Nobody wants it. Yeah. But mutually assured destruction is a thing that just happened to work, and a lot of people look back at it and say, "Oh, well, we'll never actually deploy nukes." Now you have a lot more countries that actually have nuclear weapons.
Well, certain ones got lost too. That's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, but like to even get into and that was Trump was talking about possibly not ruling out using them, and you have countries now that will thumb their nose at the idea of non-proliferation. Israel won't sign a fucking treaty.
Right. Well, did you ever see that thing about Stuxnet that's been running?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that shit, dude.
Yeah.
That with that program.
Oh, we got in that argument with Karen about it.
Man, it's so funny arguing with an Israeli if they get that when they get emotional. And in fact, arguing with the Arabs, same goddamn thing. They're both like 100% right, and you can never you can never get them to admit a thing ever.
Yeah. Well, that's arguing with anybody. That's
not like that. I'm not like that. Arabs and Israelis, just the way they argue that shit, it's unreal.
I'm bummed that I got banned from Facebook because like the best groups were already on Facebook. They'll like remove this illegal Muslim alien Kenyan from office. 9 exclamation points, like the commas or whatever, and they're all ecstatic that Trump's elected. And I've been like photoshopping pictures of like. Trump bringing Sharia law to the United States and like posting.
I love that too.
Yeah, posting them in those groups, and they're like, "He cannot do this." And they're like losing their shit.
If you fall
on their
that,
like
you
in their
it.
double wide on their like Windows 95 computer that they use to log on and threaten the president.
r/locker up?
No. Are they heartbroken?
They're so
he's
mad.
not going to lock it.
They're so mad.
Yeah.
They're like, well, you can't tell the FBI not to lock her up. You're not in charge of the FBI. You're just the president. They do not understand.
Even if like she did something bad enough to be locked up. Mm-hmm. Like all those things, like Benghazi and like her emails. Like, by the way, none of that shit I ever was like, no Hillary net. Like, but on the other hand, she ain't exactly employee of the month.
Well, I love the defense
for having that happen. She was like, so she kind of sucked at her job. But it's not prison. Or
of course not. And the defense of locking her up is they're like, if there was some low-level government employee that did this, he would be railroaded by bureaucracy and fucked over for the rest of his life. And it's like, you should be fighting to make sure that doesn't happen.
Right.
Why isn't that a concern for you?
Right.
You want to fucking jail this woman? And first of all, even if she did go to jail, the jail would be identical to her home in Chappaqua. It would be that fucking tennis court jail from the end of Wolf of Wall Street.
If they picked her out to go to jail after all the evil shit every other president did, then there is for real. Oh, because she's a woman. I mean, that would be so insane for her to be singled out as the one that we send to jail when none of them go to jail ever.
They just send her to Leavenworth and she gets stabbed to death in the showers.
Is that a real jail, the tennis court jail?
From the end of Wolf of Wall Street? Probably.
Probably.
It's a real place?
Yeah. He was
How do you get to go there? That sounds fun. That's like camp.
By being rich.
By being rich.
That's it's literally that is
federal.
The country we live in.
It's just the one that's, well, they can't put you with the poor people. They'll tear you apart.
Yeah. You can pretend to be that's what the tip.
How do you
if you ever go to
that?
jail, your first day in jail, you walk up to the biggest guy in there and you go, listen, I'm a child molester, so I'm not like a tough guy, so don't mess with me. I'm not part of this system where you all, mess around with each other. Don't say curse words at me. I'm just in here for raping children.
I've done.
And if you see any kids, let me know.
Yeah. There's no children in here, so, I'm pretty much, I don't even have to worry about getting in trouble in here. I just want you to know, so if you hear any of the other fellas talking about seeing if I'm like a gang member or whatever, I'm just a child.
I am on my own.
I don't join gangs, thanks.
I'll just be in my cell jerking off to kids, just to the memory of them. Just
have you seen that Louis Theroux documentary on like that
city in Florida?
I watch all his, and he's such a fucking annoying. I was watching him.
What, dude? I love him. I fucking love Louis Theroux.
I watch all. I mean, it's compelling. I watch him compelling, but watching him, he's like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
What are you?" Because the guy's jerking off in his cell.
Yeah.
What? No, why were you doing that when the female guard was standing there?
Yeah.
I was like, because I'm in a cell, man.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand what he's asking him.
Well, we brought this up. I think I brought it up on the last podcast. I was laughing about. I watched like Silence of the Lambs again recently.
Oh yeah.
And the scene where like they go to like Hannibal Lecter's cell, and it's like, "Hello, Clarice," and he's got all his classical music and globes and shit, and fucking like a telescope just pointing at the wall, and then so it's like obviously this guy's like a mastermind criminal, this evil genius, and that's his cell, and that's the dog.
It's
the dog.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's this like evil genius in this special prison, and that's his special cell. And then she's like, "All right, I'll see you later, Dr. Lecter," and she leaves. And then the guy in the cell right next to him just throws cum in her face.
Yeah, I remember.
And it's like, what part of the jail is that? They have like Hannibal Lecter next to the cum throwing guy.
It's the first time he ever did that.
Yeah.
He'd been saving it up.
Yeah.
Can't believe he had enough to just really wing at her too.
Yeah. Can you imagine how much Hannibal Lecter hated that guy?
Of course.
Yeah.
You imbecile.
I'm saying all this smart shit to this woman. You just you just cuck me by throwing cum in her face.
Now we've got two contrasting criminals here.
That's why Hannibal
least mastermind.
That's why Hannibal Lecter never eats her. That's like a subplot that people don't pick up on. Is that guy throws cum on her face in front of Hannibal, so he's like, "Oh, gross," and he never eats her.
Yeah,
and so he actually saved her life. So he's even smarter than
Hannibal.
He's the hero
of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, I'm glad I brought that up again. So we discovered that. Yeah,
wow, well done, Nick.
Yeah, plot element.
That is really good.
Yeah, that's like everyone was shitting on Emily Nussbaum this week, but her fucking
why? Who is that? Why?
She's a TV critic.
TV critic for the New Yorker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she always says. Yeah, but why? What was her?
I don't know what she said.
Horrific opinion this week.
Oh, fuck. Was it? Oh yeah, that under Trump, like sitcoms will be illegal.
Yeah, probably.
That's what she said. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably not going to be true, but
think about how free we were under Clinton in order to have Dharma and Greg.
Yeah.
That's what he created for us.
Yeah. You think Republicans would allow that show?
Never.
A woman that's clearly a lesbian, dating a clearly gay man, being
Dharma was
spiritual
lesbian?
with each other. I think so. I think they were both.
What was it that
Listen, My Two Dads came out during the Reagan years.
Yeah?
Yeah, so there you go. My Two Dads. Did you used to watch that?
Oh, I thought you meant Your Two Dads.
Yeah,
came out.
They came out at the same time, both your dads.
Yeah.
So they were just living together.
Show,
by the way,
the
we're
Paul
gay
Reiser
with each
show
other.
with the guy from Deep Star 6.
Yeah.
And a judge sentences them to both raise the daughter.
Oh, really? No, I don't know this show at all.
It was called My Two Dads.
With
As
Paul
a judge,
Reiser?
They had it was, I guess, before DNA testing. So they had a paternity test and he couldn't figure out who. And he goes, "You both have to live together and raise her as a couple."
Oh,
He said
well,
something
they weren't
like
like
gay couple.
explicitly gay, because like that was.
I like the will they or won't they energy of the
Yeah. I remember I used to watch Will and Grace, and people would be like, "You know what's crazy is that the actor that plays Will is gay in real life, but the actor that plays Jack isn't." And that was like that. Like a couple of people mentioned that to me as if like blowed their mind, and it's like
the stereotype.
Oh yeah, you mean the guy acting like a gay cartoon character isn't actually gay in real life, and the guy that's just sort of playing a role is the one that's actually homosexual. Like, yeah, I thought that Show Tunes guy was.
Wait, which one was cartoonier?
Jack. Jack was the one that wasn't actually gay in real life, but he would, every scene he'd be like, "I'm queer."
Sean Hayes.
Yeah.
He's gay. Sean Hayes.
Somebody said he's not gay, and
no,
it's Will.
Will is not gay.
No,
Will's
not
gay. No, Sean Hayes is gay. Will's not gay.
What?
Yeah, Will's not gay in real life, but Sean Hayes is gay.
Well, that ruined the bit.
Yeah.
But,
that's what I was told to me.
You had it exactly backwards.
So it's true. If you're gay, you have to walk into a room and be like, "My ass hurts."
Yeah, I
you
guess
should have
so.
known he was gay because he was really obviously gay.
He was
No, Nick
over the
was trying to
top
say
gay.
that he was a cartoon.
Stop trying to say stereotypes aren't real when they're so real.
See, this is the problem,
true.
all right? You're 80s kid, we're 90s kids,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we're like woke, we're listening to Tribe Called Quest.
All that,
Yeah.
which had a Latino way
Yeah.
before SNL.
You got shows with two dads and you don't know if they're fucking and
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? A two-dad show and they're not fucking?
See,
Yeah.
It
that's
sounds like
the
a
divide.
compromise, some gay guy's compromise show.
Yeah, well, that's
well,
what
we can do it, but there has to be another reason.
that's
that
what
they're
Sanford
two
and Son
dads.
was. It
It
was
was
an
a gay couple?
incestual relationship.
Yeah, it was a will they won't they
It
kind
was-
of thing. Yeah. The sexual tension really kept that show together.
Yeah.
Personally, I think.
Elizabeth was
For sure.
No.
Elizabeth was his dead husband, his dead trans husband. He wants to see. I'm coming, Elizabeth, all the way to hell where we
I thought
belong.
that was his
for
son's
sinning.
penis's name.
It is Elizabeth. Did you know there was a spinoff? I didn't know this until recently. There was a spinoff called Just Sanford because the guy that played the son didn't want to be on the show anymore.
Really?
So
Yeah.
they just had a show that was just called Sanford, and it sucked. It was just him by himself.
Sanford
They
and
needed
Suck. It was
both of
going.
them?
yeah. What's that?
They needed both of them
They
to make
needed
it
both
work.
of them. Yeah, it's like
Was
a
it this-
podcast.
it was
There's no
this-
dummy to call a dummy. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be like if they did All in the Family and they just had fucking Archie just saying racist shit.
Just
by
saying the
himself.
N-word for 22 minutes a week.
Screaming at his television.
I love
Yeah,
it.
all the meat. I think all the meatheads that grew up didn't realize how shitty the social justice kids are. Like they all think they're young and hip, the baby boomer liberals.
Yeah.
So they all think they're with whatever. So they just agree to every dumb fucking thing that
Wait,
comes
wh-
out of the campuses.
What are you saying?
Like-
Baby boomers
like
or
the
millennials?
Baby boomer,
Oh.
like the horse shit that comes out of millennials now. Like
Yeah.
the cultural appropriation shit, all this shit that's just, I mean, complete nonsense. The baby boomers kind of just always go along with it and don't seem to know what any of it's about.
Yeah.
Or have read any of it. They just go, well, it's the kids, and I'm from Woodstock, and I'm young.
Yeah.
And I think they miscalculated greatly going with those, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I think they imagined like the Daily Show was like, even when the Daily Show was at its height, it was still a niche show.
Yeah.
Even if it was the thing, because I lived here, that was like the thing. I would go to the rest of the country, and they didn't even have Comedy Central in their cable
Yeah,
package.
yeah.
Like I don't think
They're all
people-
watching Hot in Cleveland.
Yeah, Comedy Central's biggest moneymaker was always the redneck shit. All that
Oh, yeah?
was their big money.
What about? I thought Chappelle was like
Chappelle? Yeah, sure, but nothing like there. I believe until Kevin Hart's thing, one of his things came out. Like Jeff Dunham was their biggest seller.
Well, now it's the roasts, right? The roasts are like their highest rated
I hate
programs
that
of the year.
It could be.
That's what comedy's all about, baby. Roast.
Yeah.
I don't like
That's
that
where
either.
it's
I
at.
gotta
Do
I'm getting
another
real
one.
sick of it.
I got to do another roast.
For who?
They're making me do Suba, which is like,
A battle?
yeah.
Oh,
I'm going to
okay.
feel bad doing that.
Why you're gonna lose for the affirmative action
Yeah,
reasons
yeah,
so
yeah.
hard? I can't even tell you.
I don't know.
Dude, that's
But I even
Nick's
try to.
problem.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna lose in a heartbeat to Suba for that. I would go in with nothing to lose because you're.
Yeah.
probably gonna
Well,
lose.
that's how I've been going into him. I didn't even write jokes for the JP one. I figured I'd just call him a pedophile the whole time.
JP
No.
Calvin.
No, JP McDade. Very
Why is
funny
he a
guy.
pedophile.
No, he's not at all. But people just call me a pedophile in every one of those roast battles, and he's like a very clean cut guy. So I was like, either it's gonna be
Isn't
funny.
it disappointment how bad people are at the roast battle? Like I
Yeah.
always. That kid Zach Amico's written good jokes for others.
Zach's Zach's the only funny guy. I mean,
But
they're all
it's-
funny. I'm
No,
friends
the
with all of
one
them. but-
that I saw was really
yeah,
good.
that
The
Evan one,
Williams
the Evan Scott Chaplin one was fucking
was
great.
very, very good.
Yeah, yeah,
but they were like also very good friends.
But, yeah, Zach-
when you and Stav did it, was good because
If
you
they're
guys
not
are
friends,
friends.
then it's horrible.
Zach
Yeah.
was the favorite to win going into that because Zach is like I think Zach is easily one of the top 5 joke writers in New York City.
Yeah,
He's like for shit if I need shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's good. And you know what? It was Caitlin that discovered him, I think.
How?
Caitlin got him to write against me for the roast battle, and then I found that out, and I was telling people Zach wrote for her, and
Well,
then
then she
people
had
started
me
using
fix her
Zach.
jokes too. She sent. I didn't know. I thought they were her jokes that she sent me. So
Yeah,
I fixed
yeah.
a bunch of jokes she sent me.
Yeah.
And she told me, so like she won. I was like, okay, you know. I
Yeah.
asked her, I'm like, how'd you? She goes, I wrote jokes. I'm like, I was asking her what stuff works because I want to know if anything I sent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, you wrote. Okay.
Yeah.
all right. Unbelievable. But that shitty attitude of like this means something
Yeah.
is the grossest part of these roast battles. Is especially when they're not friends and they're like 3 to 5 year comics.
Yeah.
And they now think this is their for time indefinite. They're officially better than someone.
Yeah,
because they
yeah,
won. Like, and or this like weird. Well, I heard he had someone write jokes for him. I hear like that's maybe a 7 or 8 year comic thing
Yeah,
to do.
yeah.
Is like, dude, it's a roast. Like, of course you got. This is not a measure of
Right.
your worth.
It's a dumb thing that's hot right now that you fucking have
Holy
to do
shit.
if you want to get, spots.
You're not a battle dancer.
Yeah.
That's how they treat that shit.
But you know what? It's better than
They
the
treat
naked
it like
show.
a
At least you're
eight
the
mile.
naked show's the worst thing.
at
in the
least
world.
you're writing jokes, and it's not fucking, air sex or
yeah.
Air sex?
Yeah, the
What's
air.
that?
no,
I just
that's
don't
an
get-
improv thing. I'm shitting on that for no reason, but What were you gonna say?
Nothing.
The Naked Show's horrific. Yeah, no, it's better than Naked. The Naked Show, just the concept of that.
Yeah, Stav was fucking so funny. There was a Naked Show, and who was, I forget who. You know who was on stage. It doesn't
I
matter.
remember this dude Rob from fucking Boston, or he was the guy that was first when I first heard of it years ago.
Yeah.
Who was running the Naked Show. I'm like, why do you want to fucking get naked? I just remember this dude seemed to really want to be naked.
Well, what I love about there used to be underwear shows, and now there's still underwear shows, but the prevalence of the Naked Show has just made the underwear show look like the most insecure show in the entire world.
Who would want? Isn't comedy
Where you
hard
want
enough without?
Yeah, where you want to
distraction.
Where you want to do it. Well, the people that a lot of people that do those shows, that's the best response they ever fucking get.
Right. Oh, really?
Because their dicks are funny.
Yeah, well, yeah, because they're like, you know.
I don't know if my dick's
who have you
funny.
ever looked up to in comedy that would do that show ever? Like who have you ever?
Okay. All right.
Bill Burr. Bill Burr was on the last
Carlin, I think.
Bill Burr did
Carlin
the Naked
was-
Show.
Yeah, Bill Burr.
No, he didn't.
Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine Bill
Mark
Burr
Twain.
taking his
Mark
freckled
Twain
dick
did,
out.
Mark Twain wrote Huckleberry Finn completely
There's
naked.
no, wait, I remember I said that.
Shecky Green.
Hold on.
Do you
Somebody
know
threw
that?
out a name to me, and I laughed my ass off when the name was thrown out. And I'm like, I meant that I would look up to. Hold
Yeah.
on, let me amend what I said.
Oh,
Fucking who'd they say?
David Brenner.
So nobody.
Mort Saul.
So none of them.
No.
Could you imagine what I would go see Mort Saul do the Naked Show?
Oh, 100%.
Can you
Naked-
imagine
that
what his
naked
dick
shit-
looked like?
There's so many stupid things added to stand up to
Yeah,
make
yeah,
it a little
yeah.
gimmick, but the naked thing, I don't know what stripper, who the fuck thought that was. And then I think it's more vulnerable.
Yeah.
We had a big argument on race with
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm like, no, it's not. You think you had nice tits.
How does that make it funnier to make it vulnerable? Well, that was the funny thing.
Well,
so,
yeah,
you
Stav
know,
and I-
you know who was on stage, but Stav's there and he's watching her and he's like going around to people. He's like, she's so good, dude. I don't know. There's just something about her. She's just so fucking good.
Who
in
said that?
comedy. Stav's doing
Be
this.
for real?
Yeah,
No,
you know, like a
he's-
girl,
he's being
like a girl with
sarcastic.
a nice breast bombing, and
Yeah,
they'll
yeah,
be like,
yeah.
"This is one of the best." sets I
Everyone
have
goes
ever
there
seen."
just to fucking.
See
and
the-
the
see
second
the-
you hear Louis J. Gomez say, "I think it's a really great idea,"
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
applaud you. You got to pull your head out of your fucking ass.
There
Yeah,
are
if
a
it's
lot
not
of
podcast
guys.
related. Lewis is smart when it comes to the podcasting business.
He is.
He's got his shit squared away with that. I
He's a
admire the
don,
man.
dude.
Yeah. They've got a nice little studio. Have you gone there?
Who does?
Lewis and his boy Ralph
Where is it now?
on the East Village.
You don't ever went.
Oh yeah, no, it's all right. I guess it's just Ralph's apartment. They have a pretty cool studio.
Yeah.
I used to just go to the Naked Show and walk around and just loudly be like, oh, I'm trying to jack off to this. It's like, I really want to be the reason they stopped doing that show.
I know that
Because some guy kept trying to jack off and talk about how badly he wants to jack
the
off.
Hannibal Lecter prisoner.
Yeah.
So you're just
Just
Dude,
throw my comment. I'm
bombing-
saving you.
Bombing naked is probably it's the most terrifying. Like the most when I saw that girl doing that before Stav and I kept going. This is incredible. Like
Yeah.
she it was
so someone
one of the
bomb
most
naked.
yeah it's one of the most uncomfortable. You
It's
know,
not-
someone
Say who? Well, how did she look naked?
dope. Yeah.
Oh well.
Who was
that
it? Was
makes
it
hotter.
Allison?
No, I don't know.
That makes it even hotter.
Yeah.
She was naked and bombing and looked good.
Was it Allison?
Who?
Allison?
I don't think so.
They should-
I forget who it was.
Does anyone do the Naked Show? I hope there's like a fat male comic that does the Naked Show with his shirt still on, just no pants,
Like a pool
like
guy?
a pool kid.
With his dick out.
Yeah, his dick out. No, I just sunburn easily. I was worried the light will give me skin
naked.
cancer.
Just come out like Lena Dunham.
Just, that's the funniest look, dude. T-shirt and then cock out.
Yeah.
I remember one time I interrupted my folks doing it when we were on vacation. My dad answered the door, pulling his T-shirt like over
So
his
you
dick.
know your dad leaves his
naked
shirt on.
legs.
Fuck.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you came out that way.
And he's like,
That's why you
what
got
the fuck do you want?
you know a weak frame and stuff. It's because your dad wore a T-shirt.
He alphaed me.
He fucked your mom.
in that very moment when
Well,
I saw
it's-
him in that T-shirt.
That's how you come out cucked. That's how you come out cucked bodied.
well, yeah.
From your t-shirt and sock fucking.
Do you think I
wearing
have
guy.
cuck body?
No, I'm just being. It's,
I have cuck body.
Yeah.
Help.
I was just saying to somebody, I was like, cuck is such a great slur, and it's such a shame that the alt-right discovered that. It really is.
It is the absolute
it's the new
best.
faggot now, so...
Well, it's not the new faggot.
No? What do you say it is?
Because cuck speaks... there is actually no woke critique of cuck as an insult, because it punches up, if you think about it. It attacks, like, heteronormative masculinity.
Right.
The victim...
I was even thinking about it in terms of directional punching. I was thinking of it in terms of when you couldn't say faggot anymore, and they're like, what word can I say?
Well, it's a great parallel.
Cuck.
I mean, on a phonetic level...
Because faggots to tell you you're not enough of a man or something, right?
Yeah.
And then now they have the perfect word to say it.
To say it, and you can't criticize it. And in a phonetic way, I mean, it opens and closes with those plosives. It's one syllable. It's like fag or cunt.
Oh,
or
I'm
fuck.
telling you, it's a new fag.
Yeah,
man.
it's a great
Or
fucking
even
insult.
that's the diminutive, but even the full version,
Cuckold.
it just sounds like a guy that's just been kicked in the dick, like holding himself. Yeah.
I wish I could. I
Being
wish
a
I could
cuckold.
meet like whoever coined the phrase "punching down" and punch down at them.
yeah.
So much.
You think it was a real shrimp? You think it was a real shorty?
I think it was someone who's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I don't even know how anybody. Do you know what a dipshit nerd you have to be? To
It was
imagine?
that midget that killed itself on the Wizard of Oz set.
to think that being mocked is the worst thing in the world that could ever happen to you under any circumstance, and that's where that punching up, because not every, even making fun of somebody is not always a vicious attack. Like, just to even think about it that way just shows what a fucking human zero you are inside. But and then the evil of like imagining that you're on top of a hierarchy.
Yeah.
I don't punch down.
Yeah.
Somebody said about a homeless, because they had like some guy's homeless joke. Like, that's punch. So you're better than the homeless guy, and you recognize that.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't deign to mock him.
Yeah.
That's amazing, your sensitivity.
Yeah.
That's just something. That's amazing.
Well, you run out of shit to make fun of, and then they don't know how to write jokes on top of that, so it becomes...
But can it be both? Can it be funny and punching down? You know what I mean?
It's not punching. You're telling
might be
jokes.
funny-
There's no punching here. That's just something they made up because they imagine it's like being beaten. If a joke, then they go a joke at someone's expense.
But don't you think
I think they overestimate.
Well,
the
they took it
expense.
further than that. My favorite was when you would see online people would be like, yeah, actually, this is literal violence. And it's like, no, it's literally not
words or
violence.
actions is how we got that insanity.
But don't you think being mean is funny? Like, don't you think when Trump
I don't like mean. I really don't like mean fucking.
You didn't
shit.
think when Trump was just like being mean, he was kind of funny when he was being mean to Ted Cruz? You didn't think that was funny?
Yes, I did. No, 100% I did.
Yeah, that was very funny.
Yeah, it's mean is funny, but it's funny when it's being absorbed by somebody that actually has a sense of empathy.
Yeah.
No, because there's
if somebody deserves it, I get it. Yeah, sure.
I'm saying mean is funny because in terms of funny, you have an action and then you have an audience, and then the funniness happens somewhere in between the two. So meanness happens when you have one person being mean to another person, and it becomes funny when somebody observes that, and the funny happens in the way that it's interpreted by the observer.
Right.
And I think meanness is funny when the observer has real empathy, and they're not a mean person themselves, but they understand the absurdity of a mean situation. And I've told that story about that working in that mall kiosk with that Iranian kid and that woman that had the grown retarded son, and then
yeah,
and
you saw that story.
yeah, that's one of the hardest I've ever laughed in my entire life, and it wouldn't have if I didn't if I wasn't genuinely just heartbroken for this family. And then he's like, yo, that guy's a fucking loser.
Well, people don't understand what the fuck laughter's for. I don't know if you don't read Strangers a Strange Land in school anymore or something, but comedy's not a celebration of... comedy's not a celebration.
Yeah.
It's pain.
Yeah.
You're laughing because of pain. You're not laughing because you're happy about a thing. So, of course, there's going to be somebody... Of course, it's going to punch down. It's pain.
Yeah.
It's insane. They all think that... And that's, kind of the Daily Show... You write about when it was at the height of what it was. The Daily Show kind of fucked everything up a little bit because these millennials that loved it and just decided that's what it always is.
Yeah.
Which it can be what Jon Stewart did, but
sure.
It doesn't have any political or moral component whatsoever.
If you're actually funny, you can't write from a place of pain unless you actually developed your sense of humor out of a defense mechanism. You know, if you're one of those kinds of comics, because there's guys that aren't. Rory Scovel, there's nothing sad about his comedy. He's right.
It doesn't have to be, but even that, it's whatever. There's still an element of pain in it. Even Brian Regan was all clean and nothing dark about Brian Regan. It's still how stupid he was in school. It's there's still a pain in it. There's never a thing where it's upworthy.
Yeah.
That's just not comedy because it's not funny. And just to even assign morals to it. Now, there's shit that I just don't like that I'll be like, because I don't think I'm fucking mean. I don't think my act is mean at all.
Yeah.
And I don't think honesty is mean, like a lot of people seem to think. People think honesty is mean. It's not. Like that fucking passive aggressive, everything you see of the scene in Brooklyn and comedy, that shit is what's mean. Like the exclusion.
Yeah.
That's cruelty. Mockery can be inclusive.
Yeah,
it's how you do it.
That's actually I got kicked off. Well, not kicked off a show, but one of the people who ran the show like messaged me like, "Hey, look at what the other producers are saying about you." And it's like people I haven't even met, and they're like, "Fuck that guy." Some shitty bar show at fucking Over the 8. Doesn't matter.
Wait, I don't understand. Other producers.
There's like they call themselves producers now instead of people that fucking know a bartender at a bar. They call themselves producers of open mics.
Is that what that is?
It's an imported from LA. When I moved out to LA, it was all these people talking about like, oh yeah, I produce a show.
Well, it's because they're serious about their career.
Yeah. So she sends me this text and she's like, look what the other producers of the show. I've never met these people my entire life, and they're like, oh, he's a fucking big bully. That guy's a piece of shit or whatever. And it's because I made fun of Cockfield. And like they all fucking despise me for making fun of Cockfield.
Well, they all know you personally now.
Yeah, I guess. But
people that take themselves real seriously,
right? Well, I've known Cockfield 10 years.
Here's who deserves mockery. It's got nothing to do with your fucking privilege. If you take yourself really, really seriously, you should be mocked.
Sure,
whoever you are.
Yeah.
If you're like, I don't laugh at things directed at me, you absolutely should be mocked.
But some people should be exempted from that. I think within the comedy community, absolutely that applies. But if it's somebody that, like I do have empathy when, like saying like, oh, rape jokes should be off limits. I don't agree with that. But if I'm talking to somebody that is like a counselor at like a rape survivors clinic, I'm not going to argue with them about it. I'll concede the point because that shit does affect them on a personal level, and they're not able to see the humor in something that they're not removed from.
Well, blankets, right.
Yeah.
Like a blanket statement's like of this or that's not funny is a stupid thing in general. And
Yeah. Of course, I agree with that.
What the joke is. And but you're not going to a rape center and telling rape jokes. You're at a nightclub.
Exactly. And
so,
that's my point. But I'm just saying that anybody that takes himself seriously deserves to be mocked. I think that holds true for comedians. Definitely anybody that's like,
If you just were violently victimized by something, I don't expect you to... these guys. I had a joke about that brother that blew up the Boston Marathon.
The cute one, the cutie pie,
Joe Hart,
little sweetheart cutie pie.
Oh, what an adorable
Joe Carr.
Free him, dude. He didn't do anything.
So I had a dumb joke. I thought they were dinosaurs. Those guys.
Yeah. It's a hilarious joke.
Sarniev.
But these guys like, don't even go there. But it was these like,
where? Where are they from? Tell me where they're
from. Boston. They I guess they were
Chechen.
Yeah, of course.
They were there at the thing.
Oh.
And I'm like, all right, so I get that. So I'm not arguing anything like that.
They still had funny names.
That's Boston.
Don't
Boston,
politically.
That's just piece of shit Boston people don't like having Boston made fun of. You know how much they love that marathon bombing because they finally had something to be angry about?
Who?
Boston.
Yeah.
It's the people actually there that day.
9/11, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not listening. You can make the parallel to the feminists that like almost appear to want to get raped to have the joy of saying that they got
that's
raped.
what Boston is. Boston invented feminism.
Did it?
Yeah.
First in the nation.
Is that right?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
First time I'm hearing that.
We're not big on facts here.
It was
like Cumtown. It's not
the Boston Brahmins, the guys with the Mr. Feeney accents. They invented feminism.
It's wrong to rape women.
Yeah,
they came up with that.
Yeah, they were like the first.
Is that feminism? It's wrong to rape women. Is that Is that what it was teaching?
Yeah.
It's you eat pussy and
I love that. Don't fucking tell me to be careful. I teach men not to rape.
Well, I love that people still want to define feminism as if it's not like thoroughly integrated into pop culture at this point and not really, I mean, as far as like why you're going to go to BuzzFeed.com and get a description, like a working framework of what feminism is as it relates to Beyonce or whatever. Like to still
that is why they're looking at it, to see how it relates to Beyonce.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. To address it as if it's like a like codified theory or ideology.
Well, the people
is just taken by anybody to mean whatever the fuck they want.
The people that now fancy themselves great thinkers in it, who were just shitbag bloggers a few years ago.
Yeah,
like they've been given authority to fucking get little things going. Those people all look at it as turf, and you're with them and every little goddamn thing they say, or you're fucking out. And you'll be a woman. All those women's groups, the comedy ones, anybody I thought was funny got kicked out.
Well, that's gonna end now that we have Nazis in power again.
Yeah.
As all this fucking like, you know, as much as like, you know, and I'm friends with a lot of like, you know, people that are like, well, this is leftist chance to really have like a real socialist movement. And it's like, that won't happen. I really doubt in a year you're gonna just be a fucking Democrat, because you're gonna have to be.
As an alternative to Trump.
Yeah.
Well, you have to.
You're gonna have to be. I mean,
it's a chance to cut down on the horseshit elements and maybe push.
The question
ones
is like,
push.
what people are they going to put in charge of the DNC and stuff?
Did Ellison get that job?
Well, people are supporting him.
Yeah.
What's his name? Supporting him.
People are
Chuck
mad that
Schumer.
he's best friends with the Black Israelites.
Dude, he's a Black Israelite.
Yeah.
He's a sleeper cell.
Who is a Black Israelite?
Keith Ellison.
Keith Ellison.
No,
Yeah,
he's not.
No,
yeah,
he's
he
not.
is. Dude.
He supports. Where he's like has some relation to Farrakhan, I guess.
But Farrakhan's not Black
I
Israelite.
know he's not, but you might as well upgrade him.
That sounds like
Black Israelite.
that could
The
be
Black
just full on
is-
Facebook news.
The Black Israelites are the greatest people in the entire world.
I was talking to this one woman that messaged me whose dad was a Black Israelite, and he's one I'd seen in their videos because I used to always watch their videos, you know.
Yeah.
And it was funny because she was like an ex-Jehovah's Witness kid, but of Black Israelites.
Yeah.
I've never talked to anybody like that. There was this guy who was like raised in it and was like, "Oh Lord."
That's
Wait,
so
you're from
fucking
Philly,
funny.
right?
Does she still have the clothes?
Well, not originally. What?
Does she still have the clothes?
I didn't ask her what her clothes. I can't remember what we were talking about.
Where do they get those clothes? What is it with like any kind of extremism? You have to start
you-
wearing your sheets around.
Have you seen the documentary about the cult in Philly that they bombed? They firebombed.
Yeah,
the police.
Move.
Oh, Move. You're talking about Move.
Yeah. That's why I asked you. That shit was wild. Like how all the kids they made.
Yeah.
They didn't let them wear clothes till they were 13.
was that
Move
Ratso
was insane. I
Rinzo?
mean, they're an insane
Everyone
group.
changed their last name to Africa, right?
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
was in Art Institute, Ramona Africa, if you were like lefty, she was a big like you were supposed to give a shit about her, and she's like such a she like murdered her fucking husband and got away with it, like,
Yeah.
a piece of shit. But that back then it was like fringe to be like,
Yeah.
But now you're supposed to be like, oh yeah,
Well, that's
no,
what
she's great.
You know, people talk about like fucking with Russia or whatever. Like that, the move bombing stands out as like a move bombing and Waco stand out
Yeah.
as like horrific overreach by police like you
Yeah.
know
Pretty wild.
by police
Yeah.
forces in the United
Yeah.
States, and that's like a dark moment in American history. And a couple of years ago, like these Chechens took over some theater in Russia and like took like a significant number of
Oh
hostages.
yeah, no, yeah, right.
And
I know.
they were just like, oh, we'll just gas everyone in the theater and kill all the
They killed all the
No, it was
the
like some
fucking
knockout
yeah,
shit,
it's
right?
like
But
the
then
police
people died later.
Well, it's like the police watched Speed with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fucking pop quiz hot shot. You gas the hostages.
Well, do you remember the Chechens took that school? They were like afraid that the
kill all the
Russians were
kids.
going to just
Yeah.
kill all the kids.
Well, it's like there's it's beyond like just a conspiracy theory. There's like legitimate evidence that was it FSB? What is it?
Yeah.
They like bombed
Those apartment buildings. Yeah.
That
You
basically
saw the
started
Frontline, right?
the
About
second
Putin?
Chechen war.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
Frontline's great. I really want to buy. I'm in the market for a 65-inch TV, and the only reason is to watch
PBS
Frontline.
documentaries.
Yeah.
That's the Dancing Boys of Afghanistan. Isn't that a Frontline?
I haven't seen that one.
I haven't
I actually
seen that
haven't
one.
gone.
Netflix.
I watch Frontline on the Frontline website, and they update it.
Oh.
They don't update it regularly.
Well, look up the Dancing Boy. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure it's Frontline.
Yeah,
It's about all their
all the
boy
raping.
fucking
Yeah,
that they traditionally do in Afghanistan.
I just love that the army was like, just let them do it. You
Yeah, well,
gotta
that's
just-
all our allies are the boy fuckers.
Yeah.
The Taliban kind of was good about putting a stop to it.
Well, that's why we're fucked. Is in the Middle East, people say like, oh, well, here's the solution. You just have to.
No, make no mistake. We are always on
ally
the
with
side of
these-
boy fuckers in this country.
Yeah.
If they're rich.
Oh, we've done it before.
We're gonna bring pizza to Afghanistan.
Yeah, just
put it that
the
way.
pizza restaurant. You just run Afghani boys out the back
Yeah.
of it.
No, my favorite one is you've seen the Firestone one about that plantation in Liberia.
No.
That shit
The
is
front line?
Yeah.
Oh, about the rubber?
The rubber plantation.
I've seen that one.
Firestone opened like a rubber plantation in Liberia or whatever, and Liberia had a civil war, and like the white people that worked on the plantation just sort of locked themselves in the house while like all of their workers were murdered, and then they just like took a helicopter and like left.
Wow.
Yeah. There's all these people they worked with for like, I don't know, 15 years.
Wouldn't let them in the house?
They just, well, they could, they were like, well, we're not going to get involved. Like the most
So
fucking,
over there, white people are the, I didn't see nothing.
It would be like if Schindler's List was a 4.5 minute long movie where Schindler's like, it's not my problem. I'm not dealing with that shit. Just the color comes back on. He moves.
Liberia is such a
Berlin.
weird. That is what when they were having the Charles Taylor War.
Yeah.
that
That's
guy
so
was a
crazy.
maniac.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love how because Liberia I didn't know was like such birthed by America where people like go
They were
back when they
ex-slaves.
go back to Africa, and then I didn't know that was the country where they they did do that.
They went and then
they
just,
loved
like,
America the whole time.
They
And
like
it's
stole Texas's flag.
Yeah, they made a bootleg ass American flag with 1 star.
That's why
Broke
that's why I
ass
say
Liberia,
Puerto
1
Rico
star.
can never be a state because it's like
51?
Get a fucking better flag.
Graphic design.
Come up with your own fucking flag.
You
Then maybe you
need-
can be a state. Look at California, badass flag. That's a cool flag.
Yeah.
Arizona's got a cool one too.
I thought you meant you were objecting to adding a 51st star on the.
No, I don't have a problem with that.
I think that the U.S. flag, really nice looking flag.
Texas has a stupid fucking flag. It's basically the same as the Puerto Rican flag.
Sure,
But
yeah.
Texas also had 6 different flags. So they've been through the...
Really?
yeah, that's where Six Flags come from. The amusement park.
From the Six Flags
Six
of Texas?
Flags over Texas, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Wow, that's good podcast.
Thanks, man. Well, we're over time
Wow.
already, so we're done.
Well,
you guys
Nick-
want to finish?
Did we ever talk about the Six Flags we went to in New Orleans?
New Orleans? Have you been to there?
Have you been there?
The abandoned Six Flags in New Orleans?
Oh, you gotta go,
It's cool, man. Yeah, if you go to New Orleans, it was
Why?
destroyed by Katrina.
In the 9th Ward,
So why do you go there?
there was a
'cause
Six
it's cool.
Flags.
It's like a Silent Hill like ghost town.
Yeah, it's like a
this old
zombie
creepy
movie,
amusement
yeah.
park with all this graffiti, and you can go in like the bank vault and shit.
Yeah.
And there's
Are
all this old
people in
paperwork.
it?
No,
hanging around?
no, it's
No,
like
it's like abandoned property, and the police
Six
don't even
Flags
monitor
never
it.
left
That's what I'm
it
saying. There's
derelict.
not like vagrants and shit living in the Six Flags.
There might be,
Maybe.
but
We
I mean
didn't
that's
see
like
any.
New Orleans,
There's got to be people squatting in it, right?
Yeah, well, our favorite part of the trip was like as we were walking through the park. There's like, so people don't like check how to draw a swastika before they go out.
It's so hard for
graffitiing.
so many people.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we go through the park and there's all these fucked up swastikas until we get to the end of the park, and then
You
there's
finally
one,
mastered it.
There's one that was done right, and so there's like a guy that has a memory of the day he went to Six Flags and learned how to draw a swastika.
We were up all night, but it was worth it.
He finally did it. There was an abandoned like mental institution.
Yeah,
in,
Hell's Gate.
in Maryland, in Glendale, Maryland.
Oh, there's one in New Jersey they just demolished.
Well, when I was
Yeah.
a teenager, people were like, "We're gonna go do shrooms and go to the
Why would
abandoned."
you want to do that?
I don't know. I'm like, I would never go. I was like, that sounds horrifying.
I want
I
to
don't
go
know,
in the
it
most
sounds pretty cool,
depressing
It's
atmosphere.
scary in the middle of the night. And they're like, it's haunted.
no,
It would say-
mushrooms at night
Well,
is too scary.
Yeah, they would say it was haunted. I couldn't even do it sober. They're talking about it's haunted, and you could hear noises in the building.
Why would I want that?
Yeah, well, they would go ghost hunting and like but you think about ghosts aren't real. That's just homeless people trying to sleep, and it's a bunch of fucked up teenagers being like, "We're not afraid of you, ghost."
Did they ghost hunt in that way?
Just let me go to sleep.
Would you ever believe that in real life ghost hunting?
Yeah.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts is
Yeah.
how you say it.
We're ghost hunting, just spray painting a
Ghost,
swastika on a
show
homeless guy's
yourself.
face.
What if
Okay.
that's what female Ghostbusters was? They're just murdering vagrants and
Yeah.
claiming to be killing ghosts.
Yeah,
Well, I like that now that Hillary lost. That's all young girls have to fall back on is ghost
is
hunting.
female Ghostbusters.
It's ghost busting.
Yeah.
That's it, dude.
Now, what choices do women have besides ghost busting?
I don't know. There hasn't been any recent female successes. What are like the big things?
And I can't believe any
I guess-
exist unless I see one.
Yeah, your
on
girl's
TV.
going to be Secretary of State.
Yeah,
That was a great pick on your part.
Who's your girl?
Yeah, that's
he
why
was
we
like
need
talking. He
to.
was
New Orleans,
praising
what-
Tulsi Gabbard. Like
No,
3
that's what
weeks
people
ago.
are saying. Like on election night, they're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, there's this lady from Hawaii
He was
that
saying
was
he's saying how
pro-Bernie."
great Tulsi Gabbard is. Now she's going to be this socialist hero in fucking 2020, and now she's Trump's pick for Secretary of State.
Oh yeah, and
Really?
she's like,
she's an Indian nationalist and supports like Modi and is like who supported or they committed some kind of genocide or at least had some
Against Muslims.
tacit involvement in it.
Yeah. yeah, and she was like, she was potentially part of a cult for a very long
What
time.
cult?
Some cult, like some Hindu cult in Hawaii with some weird leader, and then her dad was part of she was part of a political dynasty, and her dad was like like radically anti-gay, and so she was like protesting gay rights.
Everyone was anti-gay until 2000.
No, she was like there was
Let's stop. It's
Did
fucking.
you see Hillary's videos of her when they asked her about gay marriage?
Yeah.
Her greatest hits.
Yeah.
Do you think that gay marriage? She goes, I know.
Yeah.
To me, marriage is sacred.
Yeah.
Between a man. She's actually saying that shit.
Yeah.
And that, in a nutshell, by the way, how
She didn't turn around until 2012, but
never.
so
they
did a
all
lot
were
of
against
Don't you
it.
think that,
But
like-
to say my faith and I think it's sacred, why
Yeah,
are you
yeah,
adding
yeah.
that, bitch? You don't got to throw that
But
in.
don't you
to
think
court,
that's just,
to court Christians.
That's where they get turned off. Is that obvious phoniness? Like,
Yeah.
you're probably stupid enough to think it's my faith, right?
The only people with like millions and millions of dollars that are actually Christians are evangelists. I really don't think any rich people actually fucking really believe in God. They have to all be
it's
atheists.
a way to manipulate poor
If you have
people.
that much power,
No, some do. You'd
yeah.
be surprised, man. I mean, In-N-Out Burger. That's the reason that place is even good is because the guy's a cuckoo Christian, and he's scrupulous, like to a fault scrupulous. Like he makes.
Yeah.
That's why he doesn't come here.
Is that what the name is? A reference to his closeted homosexuality? Yeah,
Maybe.
fucking, it's just
In-N-Out.
his hidden secret.
But the guy he would stand over, like he'd make sure people got paid right. You know,
Oh, yeah?
they pay very well for being what it is, and have
Yeah.
a low turnover of jobs.
Yeah.
And that's a Christian guy's Christianity working out.
Well, I don't know. I think people are like easy to forget that homophobia was pretty fucking prevalent until like literally 2 years
2009.
ago. Till like 2 or 3 years ago.
2000 like
It really is
11
such
or
a
12.
stupid thing to call it too.
Yeah.
The fact that
People getting mad at Castro, they're like, "Oh, Castro threw gay people in jail," and it's like, yeah, I mean, like, so did we, so did a lot of fucking people,
Yeah.
and that
Well,
doesn't
Castro's,
excuse it, but it's like,
I mean,
in the context of all the things he did.
But if the thing of Castro, or just even like having a Shea shirt,
Yeah.
like the thing of hating homosexuality, they hated artists. That's why I love seeing artists like love fucking Shea. They didn't like. This is the dumbest part of any of that Marxist shit is that how they value labor. Like the amount of labor that goes into something determines its value. So you as a comedian, that's not as worth as much as a guy who digs ditches.
I agree,
You should
though.
be paid less. The insanity of that. That's what sucks about it. That's where gays aren't going to, because gays are in the arts traditionally quite,
Yeah, there's a tweet from a couple years ago, and I can't remember who fucking did it. I think it was at Beavis Simpson. I might be fucking it up, but this guy wrote, in the future Marxist paradise, my asthma and physical size will exempt me from any physical labor. Instead, my role will be anime appraiser.
No, that's all their fucking fantasy. That's all their goddamn fantasy. So these nerds always fantasize, and then a strong man takes it from them. So fucking but that labor thing is so stupid. I was watching Russell Brand on Netflix doing his Eat the Rich video.
Yeah.
Have you seen Russell Brand's? He's
No.
like, it's a
He's like
monument to
political
greed.
now, right?
But it's in England, so it's so British. They're 1%.
Yeah.
So he's showing this guy in a bank, like cleaning the windows. He goes, "Why does the president of the bank make millions, but the one who cleans it has to live on a living wage?"
Yeah.
I'm like, what did you just fucking say?
Yeah.
A living? Did you just say why does he have to have a living wage? First of all, just that.
Right.
You have a living wage.
Yeah.
Secondly, you can't forget why the president of the bank makes more than the squeegee guy.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. No. Also, what I love about Britain too is I found this out like when they approved whatever that funding is to make Buckingham Palace more palacey. They're just like they're investing more money to make it like even nicer than it already is. And there's people that are British socialist royalists, where they're socialists, but they're also royalists in that they love the Queen and thinks like the Queen should have all of her jewels and riches.
Well, because you know why? Somebody just
Like,
told
what
me.
the fuck?
I always wondered about that. Someone told me it really only cost them like $1 a piece or something. The people and
Yeah.
the tourism and the shit that it generates is actually quite a lot from just people showing up. That goes into all their bloated welfare state. So they do get something out of it.
Yeah.
They don't get nothing.
I would love it if Trump grabbed the Queen on the pussy.
Yeah,
I would love it. You know what? That would be great if we went to war with Britain.
Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be
would
old school.
That would be hilarious.
I want him
Yeah.
to swear in on a pussy. Is what
Yeah,
I've been
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
I want him to fucking just grab pussies. I didn't take that. Like he's definitely a rapist from that. I didn't take that as evidence. I
Yeah,
mean,
of course not. Everybody said
turn
some
out to be
shit like that.
horseshit.
Everybody said some shit like that, and like all the guys online that are like, it's an insult to men to say that all men haven't said some shit like that or said shit like that, and it's like It really isn't.
No.
You're full of shit. You're fucking
Right.
full of
Well,
shit.
it's
You
also
talk
just
the
like
way
that.
he said it that's so creepy.
It might not come naturally to you, but you've said it trying to fit in some circles,
course.
because you want to present yourself as a guy. And you know what? The most damning thing about that was that he was a guy trying to impress Billy Bush. That's what was pathetic about that.
You know, I mean, it's pretty obvious to me.
Yeah.
And I don't understand but that's the hysteria. There's a generational thing where it's like words are actions now.
Yeah.
To a whole bunch of people. So it's amazing that Trump, like Hillary, whose actions were fucking like racist, all that 3 strikes you're out shit, all the Clintons' fucking handiwork that these kids are now protesting and pretending it's like, I mean, it's insane to me.
Yeah.
Like, so she said super predators. Oh, whoop-de-doo. She's the not racist, I guess.
Yeah.
Saying super predators. And he's the fucking... But because now they believe that that's everything. It's just become completely... there's like no context, I guess, now.
Well,
I'm POC, dude.
Yeah,
because the
he's-
Nazis are back. So
Nazis are back. So
I gotta
Adam, I have to
disagree
hide Adam.
respectfully. Yeah, Nick's
As a POC.
Nick's building an attic for me. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
I identify as POC.
Yeah.
So I kind of pretty much trumps everything.
Yeah.
A woman. I'm sorry. A POC
Well,
woman.
I kind of want a Schindler factory. That'd be pretty cool. Get cheap
That would
Muslim
be
labor,
cool.
and then I get to be a hero in the end after I exploit them for years.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Schindler wasn't a good guy.
No, he got.
I guess
He
he did.
wasn't?
I guess no, he lost all his money.
Did he lose? Yeah,
he
yeah.
lost all his
That's
money.
what that.
God,
the
those
end
Jews take
part-
everything.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what the end part of that movie was. He's like, I could have given this ring. I
Yeah,
could have
yeah.
given this ring.
DC, like Obama's really got to hurry up if he wants to be the Antichrist still, huh?
Yeah.
He really fucking put it off to the last possible second.
Yeah. Well, we've done more than enough time.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
All right, later.